On the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good Friday morning. Amy Jacobson here. John Anthony in.
Hey, I'm happy to be here.
For Dan Proft, and you're eating your California burrito that I got you from the diner this morning.
That was really
Whoever decided
good.
to put French fries inside of a burrito was a brilliant idea.
Was that a French fry I bit into?
Yes, that was.
That was good.
Yes. A lot of news today.
Yes.
Lots of news, including this new assault weapons ban that passed the House last night, real late last night, 64 to 43.
64-43.
Yes, and here's a conversation. It was a heated debate, and it's not over yet because now it moves to the Senate.
Correct.
And Governor Pritzker released a statement at 2 this morning saying,
he was there as the vote was taking place.
Because we got to get these weapons off there, because
right.
that's what's going to assault weapon ban. That's going to stop the criminals.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here's a conversation between Deerfield Democrat Bob Morgan and Republican from Decatur Dan Culkin.
We're talking about literally people dying from gun death. So I don't really know how to explain that if you don't understand
No, I
the
understand.
harm.
I understand.
Doesn't sound like
what
you
I
do,
understand, Representative, is that you're going after my Second Amendment rights. You're asking me to surrender, to register.
No one's surrendering weapons. If you are a lawful gun owner,
Yes.
continue to be a lawful gun owner. This legislation doesn't change that.
Okay, so this is what this legislation does. If it passes in the Senate, which I'm sure it will, and by the way, it's called Protect Illinois Communities Act.
Yeah.
It bans the sale, manufacture, delivery, and purchase of assault weapons across the state. Now, Illinoisans who already possess or in possession of a legally purchased assault weapon, you'll be allowed to keep your firearm, but you have to register the gun with the Illinois State Police within 300 days of the law taking effect.
Insane.
Active duty retired police and military members in good standing are exempt. The bill also bans large capacity magazines holding 12 or more rounds of ammunition and rapid fire devices or switches. Also, gun shop owners would have 90 days to transfer high capacity magazines out of state or modify them to carry less than 12 rounds.
Whew.
It goes on. And then also, too, the FOID card. It raises the age from 18 to 21. And you have a problem with that.
Yeah, because we can send our boys off to theater and war at 18 and they can possess a weapon, but when they come home to Illinois, what happens? Who's going to police this?
Who's all in? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. And we have on our turnkey.pro answer line, Todd Vandermyde. Did I pronounce it? Vandermyde. He's a former lobbyist for the NRA. Good morning, Todd. How are you doing?
Well, waking up to you is not so bad.
Okay. Well, thank you, Todd. All right, so I know you've been fighting this, and obviously, if the Senate's going to go the way of the House, and I'm sure pass this, but is this legal, and are you going to challenge it?
Yes, lawyers going over our strategy on this. We're unsure if the Senate's going to pass this. There seems to be some discrepancy between what the Senate wants to do and what the House wants to do, but we'll find out today whether or not the Senate's going to take it up or not. But it's most people don't understand what this actually does. I don't even think Bob Morgan understands what the bill he wrote or pushed through does, because when I read it last night, they added somewhere between 12 and 20 million shotguns from hunters into this bill.
12. How many? Can you repeat that?
Well, between 12 and 20 million shotguns, because the Browning A5, which was designed by John Moses Browning, a former Illinois resident, there were over 3 million of those shotguns that were designed in 1898 now fall under this bill. So does the Remington 1100. There are over 4 million of those shotguns ever made. The Remington 1187, the Benelli Super Black Eagle, the most popular duck hunting gun in the country, those all qualify as assault shotguns under this bill.
Oh, my God. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Oh, Todd, I'll never recall it was myself, you, Eddie Sullivan. We were in the back room meeting with Democrats and state police, and one of the things they said was, we are not going to pass a gun registry. Was that a lie? We now know that that's a lie. And Todd,
what you have is you have a different state police
that
is now operating under one of the most anti-gun governors of the state. My real question is, why is Governor Pritzker's life worth more than mine or my wife's? My wife has her carry license. She's going to be restricted to a 12. Governor Pritzker with his bodyguards, they're going to have something else.
Yeah.
No, and same with Mayor Lightfoot.
Yeah.
And she's supporting this scumbag. She came out along with the mayor of Highland Park saying, this is going to change. This isn't going to change anything.
Right.
You're right. With her poll numbers, I understand why she's supporting it. This is ridiculous. These people have no understanding of what they're talking about, and they want to. It's not a logical debate. What you heard was, the schoolroom mentality that they have because there are a small set of criminals out there, and because of those small sets of criminals, everybody else gets punished for their actions. It's up to us to give up or surrender our rights because they are doing criminal activity, and it makes no sense. They put the magazine penalties down to petty offenses in some cases. Do you think a criminal in Chicago who's got a Glock switch, which is a 10-year federal felony, is going to pay any attention at all to a petty offense for a magazine?
No.
Are you serious about this? But, what I'm hearing out there is there's a ton of gun owners who are just going to be defiant.
Yeah.
Who are saying, I'm not registering anything, and I'm not surrendering anything.
And Todd, how is that? Because I think we have, out of the 102 counties, 73 that are 2A sanctuaries. How will that affect 70?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That are 2A sanctuaries?
2A sanctuary state counties.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have, so now beyond the sanctuary counties, you have counties like Effingham and Iroquois that I can name off the top of my head that are now saying no county resources can be used to support enforcing this law.
So state police.
So if the county sheriff can't spend any money to arrest you, transport you, or do anything else, and now, take that to the prosecutor to where they say, you know what, you can't prosecute these guys. You can't spend any money, sending your ASAs to do any, if they want to talk about putting a divide within the state, that's exactly what the legislature is doing, and it's all because of these liberals up in Highland Park and a couple other places that don't want to get a handle on crime. They just want to use, like Rahm Emanuel said, never let a crisis go to waste, and that's exactly what they're doing. But in light of the New York decision out of the Supreme Court, we're not negotiating. We have not been talking to them and telling them how screwed up their bill is, because the more screwed up it is, the better it's going to be for us in court, and that's where we go.
Well, look at what they did to the Safety Act. That bill was a hot mess, and they still passed it. So walk me through this. So if this is passed in the Senate, and you own an assault weapon, and you own an extended magazine, do you have to turn in your magazine, or do you have to register that magazine? And what if you don't register your assault weapon? Is somebody going to come to your door and take your assault rifle away?
Well, we don't know how they're going to enforce this because they won't say. Yeah. But number one, there are no serial numbers on magazines. There is no grandfather clause. You have 90 days to either modify your magazine, surrender it to law enforcement, or do something else with it. You have 300 days in which you are required to declare to the state police by serial number what firearms you may think qualify. They want to build a database. They want to build a registry. And on top of that, I think they've got Commerce Clause issues with this, because they're telling manufacturers they can't even build guns that qualify for this in the state to sell to people in other states.
Wow.
Dan's the lawyer, I'm not.
Yeah.
But I think he would even admit that, there are serious problems with this bill through and through.
Yeah. Do we have any Republicans vote for this bill?
Jim Durkin, the guy who was overseeing the demise of the Republican Party in the House, showed his true colors of being a Democrat in waiting.
Wow, so Durkin's the only Republican that voted for it?
From what I saw of the roll call, yes. But after overseeing the demise of the Republican Party in the Illinois House, I guess this is his final flip the bird to Republicans on his way out the door.
And what about the FOID card? Do you have a point of contention with that, raising the age from 18 to 21?
That actually got stripped out of this version of the bill.
It did? Okay. Thank you.
That got gutted out. I think they saw another host of constitutional issues with that. We will see where it lands. We hear the Senate is working on their own bill. Whether or not they get something done today remains to be seen. It seems like they are the adults in the room of some sort, but we'll see what that looks like. But we're prepared to go to court.
And Todd, it's what amazes me about what happens in Springfield is that you take these type of bills, the Safety Act, you take this gun bill. It's always done in lame duck session when a lot of these people who are no longer accountable to the voters don't have to say, well, this is the reason why I voted for this bill. Personally, I think that's something I wish we could do something about, as far as no major legislation being done through the lame duck session, because that's where most of the controversial bills go to pass. And now when does the bill take effect? If it passes the Senate?
As soon as the governor signs it.
Oh, wow.
And he's ready to sign it. I mean, he even put out that statement last night saying this is going to be it. All right. Well, Todd, thank you so much for joining us, and keep up the fight, and we'll stay on this story. Appreciate it.
You know what? We just won the New York decision at the Supreme Court. We are going to force feed that to JB and the rest of the legislature, and they're going to find out just how behind the eight ball they are, because I'll tell you what, give me 18 months, they're going to have less on the books today than they have today. I mean, we're not just going to sit by and take this as a passing thing. We're going to sit there and work to reinstill the Second Amendment to Illinois, despite what Mr. Pritzker and his cohorts think. We're going to force feed them for Supreme Court decisions.
All right. Thanks, Todd. Todd Vandermyde. He joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
2022 was anything but uneventful. The start of the new year reminds us all about the things we meant to do, but just never got around to do. And financially, there may be some really important things you've overlooked.